As was announced at the beginning of Mass, today is the Feast of Christ the King, or as it's more formally put in our liturgy, today is the Feast of the Solemnity of our Lord Jesus Christ, the King of the universe. I asked one of our physics professors if it would be fair to say, our Lord Jesus Christ, King of the universe and beyond. And he assured me that that was okay, that the universe is the material world, the known universe. But there's a lot more out there, perhaps, certainly for people of faith and for people in quantum physics. And so Jesus is King of the universe and beyond. It's quite a triumphal title for our Lord Jesus Christ, King of the universe. Today is the end, as I mentioned, of the year of grace 2025. It's the last Sunday of the year. You know, if we were all gathering next week, I could be in purple with a lot of you who are on your way to Merlot Field to celebrate with our men's soccer team as they champion in the NCAA tournament. I will be in purple, but just not right now. We get a sense with the changing of the liturgical year of, I don't know, just how the church is always a little bit out of step with the times. You know, this is the end of the liturgical year. Next Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent, we'll begin a new year, 2026. Meanwhile, next Sunday, we will also begin the season of Advent, when everybody in our culture will be celebrating Christmas. And we'll be waiting another 4 weeks or so. And as we start to celebrate Christmas, the trees will be coming down and the lights will be coming off and the stores will be getting rid of all of the paraphernalia that they've been selling since before Halloween for Christmas decorations. But we'll be in the full celebration of Christmas as folks are celebrating New Year's and the beginning of another year. There's always that way in which we're not quite hooked up with the culture, not quite aligned with the calendar. And so we have to kind of keep a foot in both, right? We're in church, we celebrate with purple and lighting the Advent wreath while we celebrate in our office spaces or in our families the celebration of Christmas. Today we celebrate the feast, the solemnity of our Lord Jesus Christ, King of the universe. And yet the image that we get is quite out of step with what we usually think about or what usually comes to mind when it comes to someone being a king. This very triumphal title for this Sunday just points even more deeply into the paradox of the Christian faith, because we don't find an enthroned and enrobed king in power and glory. We find a king who is reigning from his cross. We find instead of people bowing and scraping before his majesty, we find that the rulers of the world are sneering at Jesus, deriding him for his claims to be able to save others, but find himself in such a predicament of helplessness. The soldiers even jeering at Jesus as they offer him wine, and pointing out that if you claim to have the power of a Christ, the power of a king, why don't you use it for yourselves? Even his fellows being crucified, one of them at the moment, is jeering at him and also trying to get in a plea for his own release from his torment. And Jesus quite serenely presides over this whole scene. And instead of being a triumphant king who places his own interests above others, he places himself at the service of all, especially us. Instead of a king who is wielding justice with his fiery, swift sword, he is doling out mercy even to his fellow convict dying on the cross, promising him the joys of paradise, because of that individual's plea for help, prayer to be remembered. Jesus reigns on the cross in utter vulnerability and powerlessness. He reigns from the cross as king to give mercy to the world, not to enforce his will. This is not the image of king that we had in our fairy tales or that we see in our newspapers. The worldly power has a very different look and feel to what we celebrate today. We are out of step with our culture, and we are out of step with our time, and we need to be. The liturgical year has this wonderful way of reorienting us, even if we only plug into it on Sunday, which is a very good thing. But if we plug into it even more by praying along with the seasons, by keeping our Advent reads next week and beyond, by showing up for daily Mass every now and then, the liturgical seasons, the liturgical calendar has a way of reorienting us to where we really live and whom we really serve. The King of the universe is a king who serves from a cross. The kingdom we belong to is not a kingdom of cruelty and violence. It's not a kingdom where the powerful lord over the powerless. It is not a kingdom where those who have much can enjoy while those who have little or none suffer. That's not the kingdom that we live in. We live in this kingdom of Christ, who will challenge us throughout our days to remember those who are poor, those who are suffering, those who are sick, those who are imprisoned, those whom the powers of the world dispossess. We are called to align ourselves with them. This is a time of level setting before we begin a new year. This is a time of remembering the kingdom to which we belong through our baptism. And this is a time to celebrate and to give honor and glory to Christ, our King, and to live in the kingdom that he manifests in this feast and in this gospel.